A very good evening to everyone present here and to all those who have joined us virtually. Today, we have gathered here to understand a unique aspect of spiritual science. Before we begin with our seminar, let us honor Mother Nature by watering the plant. I invite Professor Subash Varman sir and Professor Jhumanathamam to kindly come and do the honors. Now, I would like to call the members of Califony, the music club of JGC, to sing our state song. I request everyone to kindly stand up. Computer Science and Engineering Department is one of the most dynamic departments of Jalpaiguri Government Engineering College. CSE department has a history of crafting students who went on to create a mark in the industry. We are beyond proud to be hosting this seminar on spiritual science as a part of Student Week 2024 celebration. Today, we have with us Dr. Goutam Paul, who will be talking about physical and metaphysical methods to improve exam and life skills. Dr. Goutam Paul did his computer engineering from IITs Shibpur, MS from Sunny Alabama, USA, and PhD in cryptology from ISI. He was an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering of Jadavpur University, Kolkata for 7 years. Currently, Dr. Paul is serving as an associate professor and head in cryptology and security research unit of Indian Statistical Institute, Kolkata. He has received the prestigious Alexander von Humboldt Award from Germany and the Young Scientist Award from the National Academy of Sciences, India. His research interest is classical and quantum cryptography. He has more than 100 publications in peer-reviewed international journals and conferences and supervised more than 10 PhD students so far. Apart from all his academic activities, he is also a well-known as a Sattvik Diet Activist and a motivational speaker. He has spoken at the TEDx platform twice. He also regularly counsels young students and professionals of schools, colleges, university, government, and corporate organizations on life management related issues. We are very excited to hear from you, sir. Now we hand over the stage to you.
Am I audible? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? I think the sound is an issue. Hello? Hello?
Just a
Hello?
second, sir, we're fixing our issues.
Okay.
The output delay. There is only one speaker.
Okay, sir.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes,
Can
sir.
you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for inviting me to deliver a speech on this relevant topic. And for better bandwidth and better speed, so I would switch off my video and turn on the presentation mode. So give me a couple of seconds. Okay. I will rejoin from my laptop. Okay, can you all hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. So please let me know if the screen is visible.
Yes, sir, it's good.
Okay. So both the audio and the visual is fine, right? I can proceed. Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, everything is fine. You can proceed.
Okay. Thank you. So as you can see, the topic is physical and metaphysical methods for maximizing exam and life scores. Okay, so before I proceed, let me ask you, so I'll make it an interactive session. Let me ask you, what is it that we need for our exam scores? Like, what is your idea? Just feel free to answer anything. If you are away from the microphone, maybe you can speak out and your teachers can communicate it near the microphone so that I can hear. So.
Good preparation.
Very nice. That's the number one point. Good preparation. And then what else? What else?
Confidence.
Confidence. Very nice. Next. Anything else?
Anyone?
Good preparation, confidence. Anything else?
Sir, more practice.
Okay. Practice. The preparation, right? So when you say preparation, it includes everything: study, practice, exercise. Okay. Anything else?
The luck factor.
Okay, very nicely said. Okay, now let me try to nice answers. Let me try to analyze each point that you mentioned. Okay. So first of all, you said good preparation. Now, my question is that is preparation enough? So one of my best friend, he was is into medical profession. So after MBBS, he was preparing for MD exam. Doctors have to study a lot. So for one whole year, he had prepared, and there was no gap in his preparation. Like both he and me were sure that he's going to crack the exam. Then what happened? You won't believe it. On the day before the exam, his father had an heart attack. Okay, so health anybody's health can become sick, right? Even the candidate can become sick. I mean, this is not in our hand. So, I mean, next day, the exam was not on that day. The exam was next day, but he could not sit for the MD exam because he was mentally in a very deep shock. So, this is just one incident. There could be so many things, right? You may have problems at home. Maybe, there is a calamity that is going on around. Maybe you support a team. maybe you support a team, you are crazy about football, and your favorite team lost the match the previous night, right? So even if you are prepared, you are so much depressed, and you're feeling all the time about the game, you're not able to focus during the exam, right? So preparation is mandatory. I would like to put it in this way: preparation is mandatory, preparation is necessary, but it is not sufficient, right? In mathematics or engineering, we always say that whether something is necessary and sufficient, both. So sometimes in mathematical proofs, we have necessary condition, we have sufficient condition, and some of the proofs have only one, not the other, right? So here also we see that preparation is necessary, right? We must have preparation, but this is not sufficient. In fact, we'll see later that even during preparation, like let us analyze that part. So you will say that, okay, those things are not in our control. So my point is, whatever happens outside of us, right? Like whether any of our relatives, beloved ones are sick, whether there is any problem in the family, whether there is any earthquake happening around us, all these things are beyond our control, correct? So whatever is beyond our control, we cannot do anything about it. But whatever is in our control, for example, our response to what is happening outside us, that is very important, right? The same phenomena that is happening around us, we can choose to respond in two different ways, right? Does not mean that we become feelingless, we become robots, we become emotionless. It's not like that. It's how you orient yourself, how you orient your process, how you focus. So when it comes to focus or concentration, let me say that even during the prepare, suppose everything is fine. Suppose day before the exam or on the day of the exam, there is no problem, neither in the outside world nor at your home. Everything is perfect. The situation is everything is perfect. So you have no reason to worry about, or you have no reason to be diverted. But during the preparation time also, suppose there are two students, both got equal amount of time for preparation, but someone was so much fickle-minded, so much less attentive, that even spending hours and hours every day preparing for months after months, that person was not up to the mark, whereas another individual, because of high focus and high concentration with much less preparation time, may actually grasp the materials much more and may be well suited for the exam, can score more for the exam. So it is not only the preparation that you mention, but also the quality of the preparation. It is not the time of the preparation. Someone may prepare 12 hours a day, someone may prepare only for 2 hours a day. Someone may prepare for last 1 week before the exam. Someone may prepare the entire 1 year before the exam, right? So the quantity is not the main criteria here. Quantity is important, but with quality, right? So we see that both after the preparation, if something happens, right, there could be many things. Maybe the exam hall, you are not having a good ambience, right? Maybe in the exam hall there are a lot of noises, right? Maybe in the exam hall the lighting condition is not good. Maybe the exam hall you are feeling either very cold or you are feeling very hot, you are feeling uncomfortable. A lot of things can happen during the ambience. Maybe people who are sitting around you, they are talking among themselves, and you are distracted, right? So maybe the person who is invigilating, his body language is creating some kind of discomfort in your exam. A lot of things can happen, right? So the point is, at that point of time, like before the day of the exam or on the day of the exam, you need to be focused. You need to keep your mind calm and quiet and control. And that is not enough. Even during the preparation stage, throughout your study period, you should have been put the best mind, the best focus, and the best concentration. Otherwise, even with preparation, you will not be in a good shape for the exam, right? So is it clear? Yeah. So another point you mentioned is confidence. So again, confidence is a function of the preparation quality. It is not a function of the preparation quantity. It is a function of the preparation quality. That means how much focused have been your preparation, right? That will give you more confidence. If your mind is focused and concentrated, that gives you confidence. So this is again interlinked. And the third thing you said is the luck factor. Of course, I admit there is a luck factor to everyone, but it is not 100%. People say, okay, 50% preparation, 50% luck, whatever with the percentage, you are not here to measure it or argue or debate about it. But we know, okay, there is some percentage, the luck factor is involved. But again, my question is the luck factor in your hand or it is without your hand? Well, my view is that some part of the luck factor is not in your hand, right? Some part of the luck factor is outside of your control, like who is setting the exam paper, whether it is hard or not, right? How the paper will be graded. Suppose you score high, but someone who is grading is not grading it properly, right? So a lot of things are involved for the luck factor. Or your exam paper is stapled, maybe 2 pages went out of staple, right? The 2 pages are missing so that it could not be graded. So a lot of things are part of the luck, but which is not in your hand. So my point is, whatever is not in your hand, whatever is you cannot control, there is no point thinking about it, focusing about it, and being depressed about it, right? So the luck factor we can keep out of our picture because that is not in our hand. So in this talk, we'll focus on only those things which are actually in our hand and which we can take some measures about, and we can actually improve that part which is in our hand. So that's what we are going to focus about. So luck we can keep out of it. Okay. So after all this analysis, we found out that at the bottom of the preparation, at the bottom of the confidence, at the bottom of everything, there lies, focused mind and concentration. Now my question to you is that I have asked this question related to your exam. What about, things other than exam? Okay. So do we really need mental focus or concentration, or mental focus concentration is needed only for study? You are doing engineering or medical or IAS, IPS preparation. You need focus and concentration. Or you are, giving interview for your job. You are preparing for interview. Only then you need focus, and you don't need focus or concentration for anything else. Is it the fact? Is it true or false? You can argue against or for. Anyone? Anyone is commenting anything? Can someone uh, repeat it in front of the microphone? The question is it only related to study or is it related to some other things also? That is the question. Hello?
I think it is important in life as well. We have to be focused enough in life to overcome the challenges that come our way in life.
Yeah, so I'll give you concrete examples. Suppose, forget about study. Not everyone, I mean, I don't believe that everyone has to be, academician, or everyone has to study throughout their life. People may have different profession, right? So, for example, music. You may be a musician. My question is, for for composing good music, for singing a good song, for playing an instrument, do you need focus? Yes?
Yes.
Yes. If you are not focused, suppose your mind is disturbed, suppose you are very disturbed, and then you will not perform well, right? Suppose you are an artist, your job is painting, same thing will happen. You are an actor, you are on stage, same problem, right? You are an athlete, you cannot perform. So, just to give you an example, there was a concrete experiment performed by Dr. Charles Garfield. He was a doctor in the medical department of NASA, and he was also a member of the Apollo 11 project. Okay. So he studied, he divided a group, athletics into 4 different groups. The first group of athletes, he gave that they have to do only physical exercise, nothing else. The other group of athletics, he gave 75% physical exercise, 25% mental practice. The third group, he gave 50% physical exercise, 50% mental practice. The fourth, 25 physical exercise and 75% mental practice. So, and then he repeated this experiment multiple times, calculated average, standard deviation, statistical data modeling and stuff like that, and concluded something. So can you tell me, can you guess which one of the 4 groups performed better or performed best? Hard. Okay, very nice. So 50-50. It really turned out that way. So my point is, whether it is sports, whether it is music, whether you are a doctor performing an operation, whether you are a teacher, whether you are programming, software development, doing that in your office, or you are a manager, all spheres of life, you need focus and concentration to have better performance, to have better success, to have better rewards, and you know to become more efficient, right? So so mind control, mind focus, and mind concentration is the key element, is the single most key element behind all of this, whether it is exam or whether it is life in general. Okay. So problems of uncontrolled mind: decreased concentration in studies, which we have already discussed, cannot focus on the work to be done at office, and misunderstanding in relationships. And end result of uncontrolled mind, your stress, anxiety. Why stress and anxiety? Because you are putting your effort, but you are not getting result. Then you have fear of failure. You have anger because everyone, maybe people around you are getting successful, you are not getting successful. You are thinking, okay, I am putting more time to study. I am more hardworking than that person. However, that person is successful, I am not. So, lot of anger and then frustration. Okay. So, that is the result of uncontrolled mind. And in this context, I would also like to mention about intoxication, because this is a very serious problem, particularly amongst teenager and college board students, not only in India, but also in developed countries like US, United Kingdom, and America. Right. Now, intoxication, starts with your peer group, peer pressure, maybe your seniors and something, but then very soon things go beyond your control, right? It could be alcohol, it could be smoking, and we all know by now that if you consume all these things over a period of time, it affects your lungs, it affects your brain, and it affects pretty much everything, right? So this is a very interesting, picture to show that all of us believe that, if someone drinks alcohol to a large extent, then there will be a lot of health problems. But occasional social drinking is fine. There is a saying that, okay, you can drink only one peg every week. Even some of the uninformed doctors will recommend that occasionally you should drink maybe a small quantity of alcohol, to boost your health, to keep you in good shape. Such kind of things are there in the market. But this is a very interesting study, and it is performed. This result was published in clinical and experimental research on intoxication, and it showed that so even with occasional social irregular drinking in small quantity, I repeat, occasional, social, infrequent, irregular drinking in small quantity, even that causes structural changes of our brain. That is confirmed by performing fMRI scan of your brain before you consume alcohol and fMRI scan of your brain after you consume alcohol. So these are medically now proven. So that is the reason governments have mandated that when in any movie, you must have noticed when you are in a movie theater, whenever there is a scene, right, when someone is drinking alcohol or someone is smoking in the movie scene, it is mandatory now to put a message on the bottom right corner of the screen that, okay, drinking is not good for health, or smoking can cause cancer, something like that. So some more diagrams. Okay, so so this is a person who is not alcoholic. Remember, in medical science, depending on the concentration, we are scientists, so we'll talk about scientific term. The concentration of alcohol in your bloodstream, that is an indicator of whether you are an alcoholic or not, right? So according to the physical parameters, according to the consumption parameter, this person was not an alcoholic at all. But still, you see the effect of consuming alcohol by this person. The left hand side is the healthy brain, the right hand side is after consumption of alcohol for a period of time, but in small quantity and infrequent. So, same thing, smoking, there's nothing to explain in more detail. In fact, it is found that adults with mental illness that's highlighted are 70% more likely to smoke than adults with no mental illness. So that means there is a strong statistical correlation between smoking and mental illness, right? Because when people are in anxiety, when people are in stress, they tend to smoke more. They try to, they think that smoking will give them a kick. They will give them, some refreshment, and they will get some fresh ideas. Okay, so that's the misconception. Even the British scientists are telling that even tea and coffee can cause addiction. they trigger a fast release of adrenaline. And I will tell you about, one interesting experiment that the BBC, have reported. So they had two group of secretaries, right? One group of secretary did not consume tea or coffee. The other group of secretaries, they consumed coffee regularly, right? So they were asked to do typing in typewriters. Guess what it was found? It was found that the coffee drinkers were actually more, you know, they were more efficient in terms of typing speed. So, often during exam when we have to study whole night, we take black coffee or strong coffee, right? So that we are not sleepy and we are awake, and we are attentive, right? That's what we think. And even in this study, people found that the coffee drinkers actually were type faster than the non-coffee drinker. The non-coffee drinker actually typed little slower. The coffee drinkers were actually very active, hyperactive, and a body movement, a finger movement was, agile, and they typed a lot faster. But guess what? Though they type faster, but on average, if you repeat this experiment multiple times over multiple groups, statistically it shows that the coffee drinkers actually consumed 10 times more mistakes. That's a serious thing. 10 times. It is not that they are doing just two more mistakes than the non-drinkers, or three more mistakes, or two times more mistakes, or three times more mistakes. No, it is 10 times. That means if you type 100 words, if the non-coffee drinkers are committing 5 mistakes in 100 words, coffee drinkers are committing 50 mistakes in typing 100 words. Mistakes are of all kind, maybe missing punctuation, maybe, typing a wrong letter, maybe typing the wrong font, and a lot of issues, like which shows lack of attention or lack of concentration, right? So that's a very interesting study. So more serious than smoking or, your caffeine is drug addiction. Okay. Now, I have shown what is called this neural pathway, the yellow and the red line. Why people become addictive to drugs, right? In many countries now we know that marijuana is now, government has legalized it, right? So people are freely buying it from the market legally and consuming it, right? And they're thinking, okay, they are high, they're feeling good. Even, I stayed in hostel, we call it Shivpur hostel, for 4 years. And in our hostel, a lot of our seniors used to consume so-called gaja. Okay. And there was and they used to tell us that, okay, whoever is consuming ganja, they will have their job faster because they can crack interview faster. Okay. And 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 sometimes we found that yes, that is true. We were confused at that time that whether they're really saying truth or not. But then now after so many years, when I look back, I see that yes, maybe the ganja drinkers got their job faster for whatever reason, but they could not retain their job. They performed eventually so poorly, and they showed so much lack of coordination later on in their professional life that they could not progress further in their career, right? So it's all in the long term. Eventually, the non-addiction and the non-drug, takers actually survived and they performed better. So then, after observing this, I did my own study on how drug addiction works, why we get addicted to drugs, right? So the point is, you know, when we consume drugs, it's true for intoxication also. It goes for cigarette, or it goes for alcohol and everything. And drugs is just a little bit more intense, a little bit stronger. That's it. Otherwise, they're all intoxicants. So the point is, why we feel good, when you consume these things. The point is our brain releases what we call so-called happy hormones, right? Those are dopamines, serotonin, certain hormones are called happy hormones. Those are secreted from different glands, and they are mixed in our bloodstream, and we feel happy. Now, the point is, some materials termed as narcotic or addictive. Why? Because those materials have this property that if you consume if you consume 10 milligram to attain a happiness level of H, tomorrow, in order to attain the same happiness level of H, you need to consume 20 milligrams. After a few days, in order to attain the same level of happiness H, you need to consume 50 milligrams. So the neural pathway in which these chemicals occur, they program your brain in such a way that it creates dependency. Okay? The doctors call it substance dependence, right? They are dependent on substance. So the point is, that's how it hooks you up and it makes you addicted. Now, interestingly, our goal is not the intoxication. Our goal is the happiness that we get out of the intoxication. Do you agree or not? Hello?
Of
Yes,
course,
sir.
sir. I
Yeah.
agree
So,
very
so
much.
the goal is the happiness, the pleasure, the fun that we are having out of the addiction. The goal is not addiction, right? Now it turns out nowadays the neuroscientists and psychologists, they have found out scientifically that there are natural ways to cause secretion of the happy hormones in our brain. What are the natural ways? They have found that, for example, if you go for adventure sports, if you go for adventure sports like trekking, walking in the forest, climbing, cycling, okay, nature traveling, then it boosts happy hormone. Another, if you have a team game, two teams are playing, right? You are into some kind of sports that create happy hormone. If you listen to music, people are calling it music therapy, that creates happy hormone, right? So that it turns out, okay, if you do an act of service, if you do a social service, that creates happy hormone. So that's why we feel good about it when we help others, and if we see that because of my help there is a change in another person's life, we feel happy because it secretes happy hormone. So these natural ways of secreting happy hormones, the difference with intoxication is that it does not create dependence, right? It doesn't make you addicted. Today you need 10 milligrams, tomorrow you don't need 20 milligrams and 50 milligrams. It doesn't work that way. So that's why these are called natural booster of happy hormones. And that's why we do not need addiction anymore, right? So if we focus on these activities, naturally we'll become happy. Okay, so another very important point nowadays, which has direct impact on our concentration and on our focus, is the internet addiction. Okay, nowadays if you go to a library, you will see that everyone is carrying a mobile, and the mobile is put into definitely silent mode or vibrating mode because of the library rules. So there is no sound, of course, but people are reading books or maybe they're taking notes. The mobile is kept on the side. WhatsApp is on, Facebook is on, Instagram is on. Then every 2 minutes, people are reading or doing something and then checking. Okay, is there a message? WhatsApp from someone? Okay, is there a like that you have posted today morning? Is there a comment or like? Every 2 minutes, every 5 minutes, we are checking. We are always online. If we are not online, for a few hours, we feel sick. Oh, something is missing. I mean, as if we are not having water or we are not having oxygen. It is so much. And the point is, it actually is stealing our attention from time to time. The more we do it, the more our attention span is decreasing. And, neuroscientists have performed research and they have concluded recently that when you are focusing on some work, right? It may be your office job, it may be your studies. Whenever you are doing something which requires focus, which requires concentration, if you get diverted by social media intermittently, then what happens? In order to get back to the original concentration, you need 12 minutes. Few seconds of diverging, few seconds of switching topic and going into social media just for a few seconds. If you come back, you need 12 minutes to get back your original focus. But we don't give 12 minutes. After again 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, again we are checking. So we are not getting back our attention at all. So we may be studying whole day, we may be studying 20 hours a day, but it's not as effective. On the other hand, if you would have put your mobile in another room or maybe in your bag, in the library, if you would have kept it silent and in your bag, and then okay, next 2 hours I'm focused, I'm going to study, I'm not going to look at my mobile. If you would have that determination, you yourself will see. You don't have to believe in the neuropsychologists research or the brain research people. You can yourself see the result and see the difference, what it is causing to you, right? So sometimes we all know this, we are all aware of this, but the addiction is so strong that we are not able to get rid of it. So there are some tips that I give my students, that yes, nowadays it is very difficult to be away from mobile, right? We have, even WhatsApp can be used to create study groups, right? We have Zoom meetings, Google meetings happening in mobiles and other electronic devices. So it's very difficult to avoid them. But I tell them that if you are studying something which requires a lot of focus, maybe a new topic that has been taught in class, you are trying to understand, you are going through some notes, maybe you are listening to a video lecture of a professor, right? Or maybe you are trying to understand a new textbook that you have purchased, you are reading a chapter from it. In these kind of preparations that require focus at least for 1 hour or more, it's better you do not keep your mobile on the same table that you are studying. Even if you are putting it into silent mode, even if vibrating mode, just the fact that you can see it in front of you will create a lot of disturbance and distraction. It will force you to look at the mobile. Okay, so my advice is that you keep it in a place so that you do not look at it. Out of sight is out of mind. That is not just a saying, that is a fact. Okay, so if you keep this practice, then you will see that you have more concentration and more focus in your studies. Okay, so that's one very important thing. And another point that I would like to mention here, that many of us have the habit that when we go to bed, we check the mobile, right? Either we are in WhatsApp, Facebook, Insta, social media. If there is nothing, we are checking other people's reels and videos that they have posted. Or maybe you are going into some OTT. My point is, whenever you have to check, you check, but do not do it at bedtime. Once you are in a horizontal position in bed, as long as you are sitting vertically and looking at your mobile, fine. Finish it off, put the mobile away from you, and then lie down. But once you lie down, put your head on rest. Our biological clock is programmed in such a way, our body is programmed in such a way. Do you know that even a healthy person, when the person is standing, when the person is sitting, and when the person is lying down on bed, different postures of the body, you will have different blood pressure, you will have different blood sugar, you will have different levels of hormone secretion in your body. So whatever your body will secrete, whatever your brain neurotransmitters will do, that is a function of your body postures. So not every posture is for every other purpose, right? So when you are lying down, you can read books, no problem. When you are lying down, you can listen to music, no problem. But when you are lying down, no audio visual. When you are lying down, no TV, no social media, no internet, no social networking. That time you just sleep, right? So whatever you have to do, you do, either sitting on a table or sitting on your bed. Finish it off, keep the mobile away. As soon as you put your head on your pillow, everything should be over. You should dedicate to taking rest or taking sleep. That's a suggestion that I give to my students, and it is validated by data and statistics from medical field, and really it creates a lot of difference, and you can try doing it on your own. Okay, so so after we have analyzed these things, the three basic functions of the mind we can see is that thinking, right? Whenever we see something, smell something, we start thinking about it. Then feeling, and then finally willing, right? So when you see an advertisement, you first think, oh, I need to have this iPhone. Okay, I need to watch this movie. Okay, I need to have this burger tonight. Then you start feeling, as if in your mind you are creating the simulation that you are having it and you relish it, and then you are crossed the no point, the no return point. That means you have to have it. Okay, so so we have all discussed how mind becomes uncontrolled, how it becomes focused, and why do we need to focus. We have all discussed that. So the last part of the talk is we have talked about the requirement. We have talked about the problems in achieving those requirements, and now solutions. So how to control the mind. The reason I have shown this particular picture is nowadays in circus, there are no tigers, but in earlier days, there used to be tigers on stage, and they used to show a lot of activities and sports and jumps on stage. So do you know in earlier days how they used to train the tiger? So they used to keep the tiger in a cage. Then the ringmaster used to come to the tiger with a piece of meat in one hand and one cane in the other hand to beat the tiger up. So then the ringmaster would beat the cane on the floor, make sound, not on the tiger but on the floor, and create sound with the piece of meat hanging in the other hand. So when the tiger used to see, this tiger used to think that I have to listen to this person, otherwise I'm not going to get my food, the piece of meat. So the ringmaster will not go near the tiger. It will let the tiger starve. It will let the tiger remain hungry. So after some time, the tiger will become weak in hunger. It will become very weak. And that time, the tiger has not even the strength to jump, right? It is like just sitting at one place. And at that point of time, the tiger realizes that, yes, if I have to have the piece of meat, I need to listen to this master. And then the ringmaster enters the cage and then starts training the tiger. So our mind is like the tiger. It roars. It says, okay, I want this, I want this, I want that. It thinks a lot of things. There are a few thousand thoughts coming to our mind every few minutes. It's very difficult. And the mind always demanding, okay, I need to eat this, I need to go there, I need to see this, I need to have this. It's always comparing yourself with others. The point is, if you listen to the mind, then you cannot control the mind. You have to make the mind listen to you, and then you can control the mind. So think yourself as the ringmaster and think your mind as the tiger. You have to let the mind starve. Okay, mind wants it, hold on, wait. Mind wants something immediately, no, just wait. Okay? Analyze, give some time. The world is not going to end if you don't fulfill the demand of your mind immediately, whatever it demands. Okay, so then the mind will become weaker than you and it will try to listen to you. So it's an analogy to to understand. So we have 4 levels of existence. I will be quick. The first level is body, okay, which is made of 5 senses. The second level is mind, and mind is more powerful than the body. Example is, suppose you are playing football, you have got an injury, and your arms and legs somewhere it is injured, you are bleeding, right? It's a lot of pain. After a few minutes, you happen to score a goal, then all your teammates are taking you on their shoulders. You are feeling happy, they are feeling happy. Then for some time you forget your pain, right? So that means your mind has the power to forget the signals of the body. Suppose you are hungry, you have ordered a nice packet of biryani, you are relishing it. That point of time you got a phone call that maybe your beloved grandfather or grandmother whom you love the most has died, god forbid. But if something happens hypothetically like this, would you be able to enjoy your food? I guess not. You would immediately stop eating and rush to the place. So that means the pleasure of the taste, the pleasure of the tongue, the feeling of the stomach, everything was applicable when your mind was in proper shape. When the mind got disturbed, the body became unimportant. So mind is more powerful than the body. Higher than the mind is the intelligence. That is the third level. So what is the difference? Mind is full of emotion. It just gives ideas. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to go there. Intelligence is there to filter. Okay, yes, you do this, you don't do this. Yes, you eat this, you don't eat this. Yes, you go there, you don't go there. Right? So intelligence is more powerful than the mind. So if we act just on the mind, then we will be running here and there. Today the mind will say go right. Tomorrow the mind will say go left. We'll be running here and there. But with our intelligence, if we analyze, we say that think before you do, right? Think before you jump, think before you leap. So think means apply your rationality. Don't act on mental impulses, right? Because intelligence has the power. If you're not using that power, then you are misusing it. And the fourth level is the consciousness or the life energy. Some people will call it soul, some people will call it consciousness, some people will call it the the energy body inside you, right? So in Upanishads there is an analogy of these 4 levels of existence in the form of this chariot. So the 5 senses are like 5 horses. The 5 ropes to the horses are like mind. The chariot driver is like the intelligence, and the passenger is like the soul. So ideally, the passenger should instruct the chariot driver. The chariot driver should pull the ropes in particular direction, and the horses are supposed to run in that direction. That is the natural hierarchy. But nowadays, in modern society, the hierarchy is reversed. The 5 senses go in 5 different directions. Our eyes, one sees a big billboard, it goes in that direction. We are passing by a restaurants when we are walking in the footpath, we smell good food. Even if we are not hungry, our mind goes in that direction, right? So senses are pulling our mind, and mind is pulling our intelligence. Whenever mind is giving some impulse, we are acting upon it most of the time. we're keeping our intelligence shut, means the rational part, the analytical part, the good, bad part, the pros and cons part, we're keeping shut. When I'm seeing my friend is having a smarter phone, and I'm having a smartphone, my friend is having a smarter phone, then I want to get a phone which is smarter than the smarter phone of my friend, right? Even if my phone is working fine, even if I could have bought the next version after 1 year, but I feel like having it. So this is like intelligence not functioning, right? So then intelligence is pulling the the passenger. That means wherever the chariot driver is going, the passenger is going. The passenger has no destination. The passenger has no goal. Wherever the horses are pulling, wherever the ropes are going, wherever the driver is going, and the passenger is going. No direction, no goal, no destination. So naturally, this is not the proper way to function in life, right? Life, we should have the natural hierarchy. Just like the chariot, we should have the reverse cycle, go back to the originally intended hierarchy, right? So how to get back that hierarchy? So that is all about how to program your mind, how to control your mind, how to tame your mind. So some of the strategies that we need to follow in order to control mind, tame mind, make intelligence sharper than the mind, so that intelligence can control the mind, so that we can achieve our target, our destination, our dreams in life more efficiently and faster. First point is taking proper food. Okay, so again, by proper food, I mean food that cause no intoxication, food that cause no health trouble in terms of body and in terms of mind. In the Vedic model of spirituality, there are three types of food. One is called Sattvik, the other is called Rajasic, the other is called Tamasic. Sattvik is the type of food that makes your mind calm and quiet, increases your focus and attention. Okay, it has been experimentally verified many times, and nowadays, due to biochemistry, people are studying the ingredients of the particular food and finding a correlation of the empirical studies that our ancient scientists have performed. So that is sattvic food, which makes your mind calm. Rajasic food is something which makes your mind agitated, or makes you uh, makes you irritated, or makes you run here and there. So that's the mode of passion, or Rajasic food. And Tamasic food is like your intoxicants, drinking, smoking, taking drugs, which will make you be drowsy and gloomy and sitting and sleeping all the time. So that's the Tamasic food. So naturally, with this analysis, we come to the conclusion that for the optimal functioning of our body, of our mind, we should consume sattvic food. Okay, so that's one point. Second, okay, so I gave some examples of many people who are having a pro sattvic lifestyle, both from the sports domain, from the film industry domain, and from scientists domain, who actually followed this kind of food style in their life, and they had their success. And in their diaries, in their letters, in their biographies, autobiographies, they have mentioned, in their interviews, they have mentioned repeatedly how they have changed their food habit, how their modified, pro sattvic food habit have helped them in order to achieve their dreams and goals much more efficiently, in a much more focused way and in attentive way, and faster. Okay, so we cannot stress more on that. And one interesting information that NASA is planning their manned mission to Mars in 2030, and their medical team have recommended that all of these scientists and astronauts have to be trained in a completely vegan diet because they have found that when astronauts have to stay in space away from their home, away from their relatives, away from their natural livelihood in that gravityless zone alone in a very closed group for many months, they will lose their mind. They will, become like a madman. So their food department have found that the most suitable kind of food that keeps the mind balanced, that keeps the mind focused and calm and peaceful and less frustration, less agitation, less amount of depression is the vegan food. So that's why it is being recommended. So you can search in Google for that. Now, last but not the least, strategy that we must follow in order to increase our concentration and focus is yoga and meditation. Of course, uh, in yoga, traditionally, there are 8 steps. One is called yama and niyama, don'ts and do's, asana, sitting postures, pranayam, that is breath control, then pratyahara, that means sense control, dharana, which is concentration, dhyana, which is meditation, means prolonged concentration. So concentration means focusing your mind on a single point. Meditation means concentration for a long period of time, and samadhi or trance is a prolonged meditation. So the prolonged dharana or concentration is dhyana or meditation, and prolonged dhyana or meditation is samadhi or trance, that is the highest stage of yoga. And all these things actually help to sharpen the mind, to sharpen the intelligence. And one funny example of you know this exercise, putting your hands crossed, putting your right hand on your left ear and left hand on your right ear. This is the posture you may recall from your school days whenever you used to, do some a prank on your friend, or when the teacher was angry, they used to ask you to kneel down and hold your ears in a crossed arm position like this. And now if you search in YouTube in America, you know physiotherapists, doctors, and rehabilitation therapists, they are saying that this is a yoga posture. They are calling it super brain yoga because they have found that this posture of cross-armed pulling of ears actually increases your brain power. So if you do it regularly, even if no one is giving you punishment, but you are doing it regularly on your own, that can increase the brain power. Okay, it sounds funny, but it's effective. So part of the yogic practice is mantra meditation. Definitely, there has been a lot of research. Mantra means that, actually the word mantra means that which saves the mind. Man means mind, tra means save. Like from tra we have the word tran in Sanskrit or Bengali. Tran, tran shibir, tran bonna, tran. So tran, tra means to save. Man means to mind. So mantra means that which saves the mind in Sanskrit. Okay, so directly it is connected to the mind. Okay, so chanting special mantras have special effects on the mind. And American Music Therapy Association also says that chanting specific mantras with specific frequencies can promote wellness, manage stress, improve memory, communication, everything. In Harvard Medical School, one of the topmost medical school of United States, there was a conference, uh, which I know basically the healing effect of chanting and music. And they said that even, heart attacks, brain stroke, insomnia, and, the so-called incurable disease like Alzheimer's disease can also be cured by suitable and appropriate music therapy or chanting therapy. Dr. Sarah Laser, she is a psychologist at Harvard Med School. She has got a grant from National Institute of Health. And there are some other researchers in India. They have studied MRI study of Om chanting, like, the MRI image of your brain before you perform Om chanting and after you perform Om chanting. And they have seen that in the frontal lobe of your brain, there are a lot of positive energy. There are a lot of, good signals that increases connectivity of the neurons of the brain, that increases power of the brain to a large extent. Okay, so with that, I will stop here and I'll take any questions that you may have. If you're away from the mic, you can tell your question to your teachers, and maybe your teachers can communicate them.
Does anyone have any questions? No? I guess no one has any questions. The entire seminar has been pretty clear to all of us. Thank you so much for all your valuable insights. I personally have learned a lot of things, and there are a lot of things that I would be applying in my life. And I'm sure the others had their own set of takeaways too. So thank you so much for coming here and enlightening all of us. I would like to thank the Department of Computer Science and Engineering for organizing and coordinating this seminar. Lastly, I would like to thank all of our audience who are here with us and who have joined us virtually for being so attentive throughout. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And actually, whenever I give such lectures, usually there are a lot of questions. But what I do in the next version, in the next update, I actually, add the answers to all those questions in my presentation. So what happens that as time goes by, there are less questions from the audience because, whatever possible questions are there, it is already becoming part of the presentation. So maybe that you are not asking any questions may mean two things. Either you are not at all interested or you found answers to all your questions, right? So you decide on which side you are, and all the best for your future studies.
Actually, we have some question from audience.
Okay, sure.
In Facebook live streaming.
Yes.
So Nikita will convey.
Okay, so the first question is that how do I train my brain to avoid distraction?
Okay. So, so I think I already gave some tips, but I will recall. So the thing is simple. Our mind or brain, it needs to be engaged all the time in doing something or other. Whenever it is awake, whenever it is not sleeping, it wants to be engaged. So if we are not engaged in something, it will be distracted all the time, right? So that's why I gave the example of putting the mobile phone away, putting all the noises away. The reason is that distraction happens because of some objects in the outside world, right? So that object may be an advertisement, that object may be a device like a mobile, that object may be a sound that is happening around you or people are talking around you, right? So you need to remove all these objects in the outside world, including the devices, the gadgets, which may cause the distraction, right? So when these things are away from you, then naturally you will have no choice left than to focus on what you are doing. So initial days it is very difficult because mind goes back, you have to bring it back. Mind goes away, you have to bring it back. It's just like when you have a pet, you want to train your pet, right? The pet is moving away, you have to put a rope on the neck of your pet and then drag it. But then after some time, when your pet is trained, you can remove the rope and then the pet will listen to you. Our mind is like that. It always wants to go away. It doesn't want to be controlled, right? So uncontrolled mind is happy, making us unhappy. So when we want to control them or train it, mind initially resists. But if we understand, at least from this seminar, from this type of discussion, if we understand the importance of mind control, then even if our mind goes back repeatedly, our intelligence will be focused in continuing the practice of bringing it back, and eventually it will become easier.
So the next question we have is that should we keep some amount of tamasic food in our diet or should we avoid it completely?
Okay, so it is like, you have bought a new car and you are asking, should I let my car have a few scratches on its body or should I try to avoid scratches completely? So when, when you buy a new smartphone, you are asking, should I let it fall from my hand sometime and have some cracks on the front surface, or should I handle it properly so that it looks very shiny and very new all the time? So the point is, we take so much care of our material gadgets, our car, our instruments. We want to keep them in a perfect shape. We understand the importance of keeping it in the best possible way, though of course practically we may not be able to avoid accidents, right? Phones may fall from our hand, some other car may hit my car and create a scratch which I did not want. But definitely on my own, intentionally, I would try to avoid those things as much as possible, and I try to keep it at the optimal level, at the best possible level, right? So we have this understanding for the objects, the material things around us. Unfortunately, we do not have the same thing on our own body, on our own mind, which are much more important than material objects, right? Which are very crucial in performing in life. So my argument is that you have two choices. Either you want to keep your body and mind at the best level, at the optimal level, compared or at least at a better level than where you are currently, right? So it's a journey. It's a slow but steady journey. So if you believe in that okay, I should try to be better, I should try to be optimal, then of course there is no question of adding. Rather, I would say that if you have those things in your diet, what you can do, instead of shutting off everything overnight, you can gradually phase out. You can slowly remove one by one, one small component wise from your diet. If you have this understanding, with the goal that you will have a better focus, better concentration eventually.
So the next question we have is that I heard that there are two factors or metrics which need to be balanced as per Vedas. They are the Raja and Tama. So what is the meaning of Raja and Tama and how to keep them balanced to achieve success?
Okay. So the point is, if I translate, Sattva is the mode of goodness. If you see the English translations of the Sanskrit text, even by the foreign scholars, we are not saying Sattva is good. Even the foreign scholars who have translated Sanskrit into other languages, they are translating Sattva as mode of goodness, Raja as mode of passion, and Tama as mode of ignorance. Right? The ignorance is not good at all. Ignorance cannot be balanced. Ignorance is something which we should try to avoid at any cost. So tamasic is definitely a no-no as much as possible. If you are having it, try to reduce it, try to make it zero. Rajasic, which is the mode of passion, that is needed to some extent in order to function in the material world, because without Rajasic, you cannot be active. Whenever you are active, that means you are under Rajasic influence. But the point is that we should be more active in our mind and our brain than in our body, right? If we are in subtle science or subtle arts, if we are in that domain, if we are in physical labor, like if we are working in a factory, if we are moving heavy machines, then definitely Rajasic is the main focus. But if we are having an intellectual kind of job or profession, whether it's music or studies or science, whatever, then we should focus more on the Sattvik aspect and focus less on the Rajasic aspect. We cannot make the Rajasic to zero, but we should try to minimize it as much as possible.
The next question we have is that I started meditating but I'm not able to continue it. How to continue that?
Mhm. So, so it is not only with meditation. If anything that you start and if you do not see immediate result, then it's our natural tendency is to discontinue it. But the only way we can continue it by seeing example of other people who have done meditation for a long period of time. So we can get inspiration from them and understand that certain things we may not get immediate benefit. If you join a Zumba class, you will get fun immediately, right? But if you join a hardcore sports training activity, like even if you know how to play that sport, suppose you play cricket very well, but if you join a cricket academy, the kind of exercise that they will make you do and the kind of rigorous training that they will make you do, you will say, oh my God, I don't want to play cricket. Let me quit, right? That happened to my own son, actually. He behaved like that. So my point is that whenever you are into some rigorous path that takes some time to manifest result, then we have to be patient. Just like as the sports training, suppose you're into boxing training or even music training, right? At the very beginning, you will not get the notes or the the music, the ragas. It needs a lot of practice, right? After few months, after few years, when you grasp the subject a little bit, then the interest comes. So meditation is like that. It is not like a Zumba class, or it is not like watching a movie that immediately you will derive satisfaction and pleasure. It is like a rigorous sports training, or it is like a rigorous music training, which requires some time, which requires some patience. So I will say you should give at least 1 year. Right? We give lot of time to lot of things. Let us give at least one dedicated year to practicing meditation, even if we don't like it, even if we hate it, even if we get extremely bored. But let us give ourselves a promise. Okay, we'll do 1 year. Even after 1 year, if I'm finding it boring, not effective, I'll quit it immediately. With that understanding, let's start it. Okay.
Our next question is that if somehow we get distracted, then how can we bring back the focus that I had built before the distraction? What will be the best way for that?
Okay, so practically you should identify the cause of distraction. Right? Whatever is causing you the distraction. If it is an object, if it is a gadget, I already mentioned, you have to remove that. If it is a person in your neighborhood who is causing the distraction, you have to go to a different place. Right? So one of my friend, when she was doing PhD, she was finding that she can neither focus at home, nor she can focus at office, nor she can focus in the teacher's room, but she could focus in the library. So you have to think, do experiment, and create an ambience around you where you find yourself to be most focused. Initially, that is, then once you build a focus, then you can become focused at any place, at any time. Even if you are among 1,000 people, you are on the middle of the street, you can still create focus. After doing 20 years of meditation, I can guarantee you that it really happens, right? Once you practice focus in a nice ambience, in a conducive environment which boosts your focus for many years, then you gain the power to remain focused at same level even amongst lots of noises, lots of people, and lots of distractions. You don't care actually.
The next question is that to control the mind, we need to control our emotions. But wouldn't it deplete our feelings? Will meditation increase our emotions or reduce it?
No. So what happens is that emotions are part of your mind. Those are natural things. But meditations will teach you how to handle the emotions, right? So happiness, pleasures, sorrow, shock. So these things, feeling hurt, these things will come. These are parts of life. But meditation will make you strong in order to survive those emotions, in order to channelize those emotions, and in order to respond to those emotions in a better way.
The next question is that having anxiety issues due to less preparation before exams, how to deal with it? And if my results are not up to the mark, how do I deal with the situation?
So the question is fallacy. Question has a fallacy in the way that, see, if you have a less preparation, then already you have kind of created your own destiny of having a low performance, right? So it's like a doctor going to an operation theater and saying, okay, I did not study well, how do I do the operation right? The patient will run away. So my point is, do not come to that situation, right? If say from today, if after 1 week from today you have exam, and suppose today you realize that my preparation is not good, then what can you do? You cannot get that time. Do your best for the next 7 days, but make sure, promise to yourself that from the next exam you will not have this situation. That is in your hand. Whatever you have done till now, till this moment today, you have no control. You can't undo it. You can't reverse it. But from today onwards, until the next exam and so on, for your entire life, you have the full control. It's up to you whether you want to take that control or not.
Thank you, sir, for your answer. Our next question is that what is the best way to handle failure, especially if you have worked really hard for it and if you have harbored that dream from your childhood?
Can you repeat the question slowly?
The question is, what is the best way to handle failure, especially if you have worked really hard for it and you have harbored that dream from your childhood?
Okay, so first of all, as I say, that in every efforts, every exams, every challenges in life, there are two components. First thing, what you can do about it. Next is things which are not in your control, which some people call luck factor. I call things which are beyond your control, right? So things which are beyond your control, there is no point feeling depressed about them. If you have given your best, if you have prepared your best, then even if the failure comes, you have the satisfaction that, okay, failure did not come because of me. I am not responsible for the failure. The failure happened because of things which are beyond my control. So that will give you a lot of confidence and a lot of strength for the next iteration of attempt. On the other hand, if there is a fault at your side, if on your side, if you have not given your best, if you have not prepared your best, then even if there are things beyond your control, still you yourself will be frustrated with you that I wish I would have done that way, or why did I not do like this? and you will go into depression. So don't create that situation. My suggestion is that we understand so many things so well now, at least through this discussion we are understanding. So do not go into that situation that you will blame yourself, right? So you give your best, and the results are not in your hand, right? That is there in Bhagavad Gita also, that you do your work, do your best, keep no complaints. Then the result comes. Result does not come. At least you have the satisfaction that you are not at fault.
Thank you for your answer, sir. I think that will help a lot of people. The next question is that how can music therapies, meditation, and all of the things that you have mentioned are able to cure the diseases which do not have a proper medical cure yet?
Yeah, so okay, World Health Organization, WHO, if you open their website, many years back, they used to have the definition of health as well-being of the body. But later on, they have updated their definition as well-being of both body and mind. That is the definition of health. So that means health means a good body and a good mind. This is World Health Organization is telling. And so what modern science has established, that mind has a lot of power. Remember the hierarchy that I just mentioned. Mind is higher than the body. So if mind is higher than the body, medicines are working at the body level, right? So whenever we are consuming medicines, whether it's allopathic, homeopathic, Ayurvedic, whatever form, it is working at the body level only. But since mind is at a higher level than the body, if you give signals to the mind, which is in the form of mantra, which is in the form of music, which can be in the form of many subtle esoteric practices, if you give signals to your mind, then because your mind is at a higher plane than the body, there is a chance that it can go beyond what medicines can achieve. And that is my explanation, at least theoretically, why and how it happens. Whether it happens or not, there is no doubt, because the data is there, the experiments are there, and you can do your own experiments to validate it, right? So what happens is known to everyone. Now, why happens? That I gave some explanation with respect to your question.
Medicine can definitely do wonders. Thank you so much for your answer, sir. Our next question is that if somebody is already addicted to smoking or drinking, how can we help that friend even if he is unwilling to leave his addiction?
Uh, First of all, if someone is already addicted, then there are a lot of things that can be done. First thing you can try to do is to discuss with that person about the scientific facts. You present the scientific facts of what harm it causes to the body, to the mind. Just plain scientific facts. No emotional fact that, okay, your parents will be hard. You have a lot of responsibilities to take care of your family. Those things will not bother them, right? Nowadays we go by science, so give them facts. So eventually it will register in their mind, right? Sooner or later. That's point number one. Point number two, try to give that person positive company. Lot of things happen because of peer pressure, right? Whenever someone gets addicted, that person tries to find the friend circle who are also addicted, right? And that we have to break that chain. So if you are close to some friend, if you are really feeling for your friend, you try to create a friend circle to outnumber the negative friends or the addicted friends, and try to bring your friend in your positive non-addictive group as much as possible, slowly. Okay, so that will create a positive energy, and that will give him or her positive power to rise above the temptations of addiction. Third thing that practically you can do, that you can try to reduce in physical quantity the amount of addiction, right? So if your friend is convinced by the scientific fact, you can tell your friend you don't have to quit from today. Many people say, okay, I quit from today, but then after a few days they again resume. So if today they are having 10 cigarettes a day, you can ask them, okay, now you have understood this is the scientific fact, this is the data, so please try 9 cigarettes a day from tomorrow. Rather than if you say, okay, stop smoking, they will not listen to you. But if you tell, okay, instead of 10, you try 9, then after a few days, when they will see, yes, they can do it successfully without feeling any problem, they will be inclined more to reduce it when you ask them to do so. So this phasing out is a lot of comfortable thing. You will see that nowadays some nicotine patches they put on the near the throat, outside the throat. The nicotine gets dissolved in the blood very slowly, and people do not have hankering. They don't want to smoke because the blood is hungry of nicotine and that is getting fulfilled, but at a slow pace. So all things together, combined together, can help actually to fight the addiction.
Thank you for your answer, sir. Our next question is that the first two points of Yoga Sutra talks about do's and don'ts, but sometimes it becomes difficult to understand the work we are doing, whether it's good or bad. How to decide if it falls under do's or don'ts?
Okay, so the point is that if you sorry so if you go to Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, if you read Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, right, then you will find that he has specifically mentioned what are your do's or don'ts. in, par- in particular, there are 5 do's and 5 don'ts. Okay, so if you are interested, I can mention about them. So Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, the do's are like yama, right? Second. So yama is like don'ts. Let me drink some water. So yamas and don'ts are like ahimsa, which is non-violence, satya, which is no lie, asteya, no stealing, uh, brahmacharya, no illicit relations, aparigraha, absence of greed. So these are the don'ts. And when I talk about do's, which are called niyamas, shaucha means cleanliness, santosha, contentment, tapa, austerity, swadhyay, study of the self, and Ishwar Pranidhan, surrender to God. So these are do's. So Patanjali has very specifically written what are do's and don'ts, and these are part of the yoga practices. Now, in life, if you have something else other than this list, right, which you want to decide whether to do or whether not to do, my answer to that is that if you do the yoga practices consistently and regularly, that power to discriminate comes within you. Again, I will go back to the body mind intelligence hierarchy, right? So the intelligence is a filter. The job of the intelligence is to classify this is good, this is bad, I want to do this, I don't want to do this, right? So when through the process of meditation and yoga and music therapy, when your intelligence will become sharper than mind, then automatically other things in life which are not part of the do's and don'ts list of Patanjali will happen to you. Your intelligence will be at a proper level to decide whether to act or not to act, whether to do, not to do, whether to accept or to reject. Okay, so that's the practice.
Thank you so for answering that. Now we have our last question. It says, how can I handle a situation in which I am extremely nervous due to certain circumstances and I need to calm down immediately to perform well?
Okay, so you are talking about emergency, right? So patient is bleeding, taking to the emergency room. So a simple trick that I will tell you that suppose you are too much anxious, too much, depressed, and immediately, in next 1 minute, your name will be called in the interview room. You have to go. There's nothing, no time left. At that time, one technique that you can do is deep breathing, right? Whoever has practiced have benefited. So I cannot stress it enough. So you inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Okay. So as you inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth, a lot of negativity from the body goes away. You try to do it 10 times and 15 times, and you will feel more relaxed. You will feel more calm, and then you will perform better. Okay.
Thank you so much for answering that. That was all the questions. Thank you so much for taking out time and answering the questions and giving all of the insights that you gave us today. I'm sure a lot of students will benefit from all of this information that was shared. Thank you everyone for being so attentive and patient throughout. I hope you all enjoyed the session and all of you had some or the other takeaways from this. With that, we end our seminar. Thank you everyone.
Thank you. All the best.